Good morning, this is Shancy with the HomeGauge support team. Today we'll be covering in this about a 1-hour webinar, managing your report from the HomeGauge dashboard. I'll be doing a few things that you'll find in other videos, but once we get to the dashboard, we won't be working in the software anymore. Hopefully everyone's looked at the software and has an idea of what I'm talking about, as well as the dashboard. And everything we're covering today are part of HomeGauge services, which is an additional service we offer on top of our standard software. So let's get started. What I've done is I have a report in my software right now, and I've created username and passwords for my customer. And what I need to do right now is upload this report. I'm going to upload the report along with an agreement to show you how to use the force agreement really quickly, and then we'll manage that report and others from the dashboard. But in order for my software to communicate with the dashboard, I need to be logged in. So the software itself actually lives on your computer. You don't need an internet connection to write a report, but if you want to upload the report to the dashboard, which lives on the internet, you need to be able to connect. That means you have to have an internet connection and you need to have an active HomeGauge service. So at the top of the screen here, I'm going to click on HG Services, and I'm going to make sure that I'm logged in. So when I go to upload this report, the software knows what to do. So I'll click on HG Services and go down to Enter Inspector HG Username. If you created a service account or when you downloaded our software, it's very likely that you created a username and password for yourself. That's what you would put here. It's very rare for us to create the username and password for you. So I've checked off Always Remember. When I say OK here, it will validate my username and password because I have an internet connection. And that was quick, just a little flash and it's done. So now that I've finished my report, I'm going to point out a few things for you. Number one, I've created a username for my customer. You'll see down here at the bottom. And I'm going to click on Report Info on the left. I've also used a unique report ID. If you're going to be uploading your reports and using the online click agreement or uploading multiple types of documents like maybe just the summary or maybe an invoice and the report, and it's easier for them to find each other if you use a unique report ID. I like to use the date and the first word in the address. Oh, actually, I did the city this time. Let me change that real quick. That was my bad. There we go. East-West. So there's my report ID, and here's my address. I've also added the realtor from my contacts list so that when I upload the report, I can distribute it to them. So now that I've done all that, I'm going to upload the report. So at the top of the screen, I'm going to click Upload. Once I do this, I'm sort of on this bridge between the software on my PC and the dashboard on the internet. Because I've answered all my questions, it brings me to my print options screen. Today I want to upload my full report for upload or print with pictures. I also want to upload the agreement. So I'm going to check off both of these items. You'll notice that I can only highlight one item at a time. That's because the highlighting in this screen, it's just not important unless you're making a change to something. When you're uploading, what matters is where the check marks are. So I have two documents checked off, full report for upload and pre-inspection agreement. And at the bottom here, I'm going to click OK, and it'll upload this data to the dashboard. Here's my preview. Shows me my report. And at the bottom here, the very bottom of the screen where it says upload, I'll click upload. And now it's going through all that data. This is kind of a big report. Russell actually built it. It's got video and lots of pictures, so I thought it was a good example so you can see what it looks like from the dashboard. Maybe it's too big, taking a little time, but this is actually uploading not just your report, but your entire template. So if something should ever happen to your computer, but you upload your reports, hopefully you're backing up your settings when the software asks you. But if you didn't, but you had an uploaded report, you can always get that report back into your software and pull the template right out of it. It's actually pretty easy. It's a nice emergency feature. Now here it's asking me if I want to send my report notification emails. Yes, I do. And when I do that, I'm going to click yes. It's going to open the internet. It's going to open my dashboard. And it actually opened my screen on the other monitor that I have. So here's my report. I'm going to open that up here. And you can see a couple of things about this document. So from this point forward, we're pretty much working from the internet, okay? This has not removed the report from my computer. It sent a copy of the report to the dashboard. We never remove content from your computer. We're only taking copies from your hard drive. So you'll see that here's my report address, and here's my inspection report, and down here I have the pre-inspection agreement. If I want my customer to have a button in order to agree to the contract, agree to the agreement, I need to force the agreement. There's a whole webinar just on agreements, so I'm not going to go into this too much. At force agreement. I need to do that to make that button appear for my customer and to prevent them from seeing this document before they agree. I'm making it so that this pre-inspection agreement is going to block the report until they agree. So I'm going to click on Add Force Agreement. On this next page, you can see that I have indicated that they have not agreed to the contract. Because I uploaded the report and the agreement at the same time, it assumes that I do not want them to see the inspection report. And so there's a check mark here already. If I had uploaded multiple documents, like a summary and an invoice and that type of thing, it would have checked them all off. But maybe if I uploaded an invoice, I would still want them to be able to see it, even if they didn't agree to the agreement, so I might uncheck that one. But I do not want them to be able to see the inspection report. So I'll leave that like that, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. I strongly advise you to watch the entire webinar on the online click agreement. I'm going to click Save Changes. And now you can see that it says not agreed. This means that when the customer logs in, even if they try to click on the inspection report, it's going to block them and it'll bring them to the agreement. So now I'm going to send my report notification emails. At the top here, I have inspection report and I have agreement. I can send either one, but I'm going to send the agreement one so that they get the instructions in the email as to what they need to do. That both emails give them access to the same information, except for the one email with the agreement says, hey, here's some information, here's your documents, you need to agree to the contract before you can view anything else. So I'm going to click on agreement. So here I have my customer and my realtor, right? So number one, the realtor does not need to see this pre-inspection agreement, so I'm not even going to give them viewing permissions. It's none of their business. So it really is for the customer to agree. They can't agree to it anyway. So I'm not going to give them permission to see that. I am going to give the customer viewing permissions on the inspection report, viewing permissions on the agreement, and I'm even going to give the realtor viewing permissions on the inspection report. Because I forced that agreement, no one will be able to view that report until Mary customer agrees to the contract. That includes HomeGauge employees. We can't even see that report if you force the agreement. So it's okay if that's pink. We don't want the realtor to be able to see the pre-inspection agreement. She can't do anything anyway. So as I scroll down, here's my email. It includes some code that will include the username and password. And I want to click Send Emails. Here's some time release messaging. You can schedule time release messaging. It's a marketing tool. We're not going to talk about that today, but it is something that you want to look at. There's a video on time release messaging at support.homegauge.com. You want to have a look at that because it is a good marketing tool that will follow up with your customers. You can schedule emails. It's not a mass email tool. It's scheduling emails. Okay? So I'm going to leave that right now. And I'm going to return to my reports list. Okay? And here's everything that you need to see. Okay? So I haven't allowed this on here. Now, really quickly, I'm just going to open my browser in another screen, and I'm going to log in as this Mary customer so you can see what happens when Mary views the document. So I'm going to pretend to be Mary. And here's her document. So here I am, I'm the customer. I received my email that it was ready, and now I want to view the documents. View documents. It says right here that a signature is required. But your customer can say, oh no, I just want to see the inspection report. I don't care about a pre-inspection agreement. And they'll click on the inspection report button. But when they do that, it brings them to the agreement. Okay? This is because you forced the agreement. This is important. They're not going to be able to see anything until they agree. So as the customer now, I'm going to click I agree to the above so you can see what happens on the customer side as well as your own. Now the customer can view the documents, view my documents, and here's the report, inspection report, and now she can see it with her nice high definition expanding photos and video. And here's the summary, very nice. Look how nicely they can see that. Really nice. A PDF can't do that. Anyway, so now your customer has viewed the document. I'm going to close out of this browser as the customer. Now this screen right here is the dashboard for the realtor. So when you log in with different browsers, you can pretend to be the customer and have the other one for the realtor, or however you want to do it. I'm going to refresh this screen so you can see what happened. So now that the customer viewed it, you can see that they viewed the document. They also agreed to the contract. So that's really great, right? So at this point, there's other things that you can do here. So we've uploaded the report and the agreement. We've forged the agreement. That being said, there is not a reason to ever re-upload that report unless you made a change to it. If you needed to resend this notification to your customer, you do not have to go to your HomeGauge software and re-upload the report. If you do that, you're going to wind up with multiple copies of the same report on your dashboard, and it's not going to be neat and easy to find things. You could return to your HomeGauge dashboard at homegauge.com every day until the person views the report and resend that notification as many times as you care to. And you will not have to re-upload it. Okay, so what this means is you don't have to have your computer with you. You can have your phone or your tablet in the field without your PC, meaning without your HomeGauge software on that PC. Go to homegauge.com, log in, and resend this notification from any place you have an internet connection. You do not have to have the software and the report stored. I find that inspectors do that a lot. They think that they have to upload that report again when in fact this copy lives on the internet until you delete it. So if I wanted to resend this notification right now, all I would have to do is click Inspection Report. This is Send Emails, Inspection Report. Now I'm not going to take away any viewing. I don't even have to do anything else here. Maybe I don't want the realtor, hypothetically. I don't want the realtor to get another email. So I can uncheck this box for the realtor on the left, because that's the column that indicates whether or not someone is getting an email. This Send Email column, I'm going to uncheck the realtor. He doesn't need to get another one. I'm going to leave Mary customer, and all I have to do is send the emails. You'll notice I'm not changing anything in the view column. If I removed this check mark from the realtor, he not only would not get an email, suddenly he wouldn't be able to see the report anymore because I took away viewing permissions. So I'm leaving the viewing column just the way it is. Unless you're intentionally going in to prevent someone from seeing this report, there's no reason to uncheck these boxes. And then I'll just click Send Emails. Brings us back to TRM, which we're not going to talk about today. I'm going to return to my reports page. And now you can see, the same list, okay? But because I sent that report already, if I click over here on See All Events, so there's a couple of them here, right? This one, each one relates to the document in which it's associated. So this See All Events is for the inspection report. This See All Events is for the agreement. So I'm going to click on See All Events, and you can see that this report was sent to Mary Customer at 10:17. It was also sent at 10:12 to Mary Customer, and it was sent at 10:12 to the rep. okay? And you can see down here that the HomeGauge user views at 10:14, Mary customer viewed this document, and this is the IP address where she was located when she did it. And this is the information that she used to access it. This is like a tracking. When she logged in for the first time and viewed that document, you as the inspector most likely got an email that said she logged in and viewed the report. You probably also got an email when she agreed to the contract. That way you don't have to be looking at your computer to determine if everyone's doing what you've asked them to do. Now you see that you're getting notifications. It's sort of like a mini secretary saying, hey, this was done. I'm checking this off my list today. Now you can move along and do the things that you need to do. Okay? So see all events is really nice. If I go back a page and I go down to the see all events for the agreement, right down here, you can see when it was sent. This is the sent. You can see when the customer viewed it, when you made the agreement required, and when the customer agreed to it. What's interesting about this page is maybe the customer didn't agree, right? Maybe the customer did not agree, and you're like, why isn't this customer not agreeing? Okay, so let's see if I can do like this. So they did not agree. We're getting rid of this down here. No, it's not. They didn't agree. But up here, you can see that even though they didn't agree, that they actually viewed it. So if they logged in and viewed the agreement, you would actually see that they viewed it, but for some reason they didn't agree. Meaning, like, they actually went through the steps of reading it and did not click I agree. So that's an interesting thing to see, because they can then say, I didn't see the agreement. Well, actually, I can see that you logged in and you looked at that document. You just didn't agree to it. So that's an important feature too. So I'm going to return back to my reports page. So that's how you can kind of track information regarding the report. So the moral of the story is never re-upload a report unless you made a change to it. You can distribute that report as many times as you like from the dashboard. So let's say that the customer, I don't know, she didn't for some reason get the email, and you realize you made a typo in the email address. Or maybe she has a second email address she wants you to send it to, so maybe one of them was her work email. You can do that from the dashboard. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the customer's username. And it'll take me here. So because the customer logged in, I don't get to see their password. If I had come here before they logged in, I would have been able to change the information a little bit differently. But right now I have this email right here for her. And she needs this email to be sent to a different one. And I'm going to add a second email here. So here's her second email. All I have to do is click Update Email Addresses. And you can see that this has been added, okay? And at the bottom here, I have to submit the change. Down here, Submit Change. Oh, that should have happened. Let's see. How about, that's kind of strange that it would actually do that. It thinks that I've used that email already. I'm going to change it entirely. Oh, I love when it messes up when I'm teaching. This is kind of a new feature. It actually allowed me to change both of them. Let me go back here and return to that reports page. That's always fun. It has that email here, and it actually created that. We have a little bug on our new dashboard. That's fantastic. Give me a note. Typically, it did actually add it, but it's giving you a message that that it's not there. So update email addresses. I'm gonna try that one more time. and it's just saying it's already in use. It's actually not already in use. I used it for this one person. It should have allowed me to change it. That's always fun. We're going to do this again with the realtor and see if it happens. It's all about learning, I suppose. And someone's going to get a talking to for messing up my webinar that I'm recording. Yay! All right, so let's talk about the realtor. Let's try it for the realtor. So let's say the realtor's email has changed. I'm going to click on the realtor's name, username, and it says russell@homegauge.com. And I'm actually going to change that to russell@email.com, or how about just rep@email.com. So I'm changing his primary email address. Update email addresses and submit change, and that one was successful. Woohoo, yippee. Okay, so now when I go back to my reports page, you can see that this is his new email address. All right, so that's important so that he can get it at a new location. Realtors, they're always switching companies, and even though they can change the email themselves, oftentimes they request it from you or from us. So you can do that for them if you need to. Okay. So the other thing that you can do here is you can add another customer or even another rep from the dashboard. So let's say you uploaded your report and you needed to send it to, I don't know, an insurance agent who we would also consider to be a rep. A rep is not necessarily just a realtor, it is a real estate professional. Okay, so that can be a realtor, it can be, or a realtor. It can also be a insurance agent, it can be an attorney or a title company, something like that. So let's add a rep to this report. Now it's not going to show up on the body of the report, it'll just give us another option to send it to someone else. So I'm going to use this add user plus user right here. And I don't have the username for this person, so I need to create it from scratch. So I'm going to click Create a Rep Username right here at the top. Okay. And I'm just going to fill out some information. Mr. Lawyer. You don't have to fill all this out. You do have to put their first and last name in and their email address. Okay, you don't have to fill the rest out unless you want to, and click Submit. And it created this username, and now I'm going to add the username to the report, not to the report, to the uploaded report, so that I can send the notification to this person. I'm going to click Add Username. So if you forgot to add a rep in your software, see, here he is. You don't have to panic. Once you get it to the dashboard, you can still add someone. And then I can click Inspection Report up here. And I don't need to send this to Mary Customer, and I do not need to send it to my realtor, and I don't need for the lawyer or whoever this third party is to even see the pre-inspection agreement. They just want the report. So he's the only one who's going to get this one copy. I took away viewing permissions on the pre-inspection agreement for him, and I would just click Send Emails. And it brings me back to my TRM. So that's how you can add someone. You could do the same for a customer. There's an option to add a customer that same way, okay? So that's how you add an additional customer or rep. Now, if something happens, hypothetically, let's say, I don't know, Mary Customer needs you to send this to a third party, okay? And now you could have given her viewing permission. She wants to send it to a third party. You can do it one of two ways. You can either give her forwarding permissions on the report and she can do it herself, or you can send the third party email yourself. So let's give her viewing permissions, her forwarding permissions rather, first. So I'm going to click right here under viewing. and I'm going to edit permissions. So it's kind of like when you're in that send the notification email, except for here you're not going to send an email, you're just going to edit the permissions. So I'm going to give Mary Realtor here, Mary Customer rather, I'm going to give her forwarding permissions by clicking in this left column, and I'll set permissions. Now, if she wanted to, she could then log in to see the report. There's a button there that says forward. She could click it and put in the email of the person she'd like to forward the report to. That is completely outside this username and password system. It is a totally different system. It only creates a link and a password, and it doesn't interfere with any passwords used for the standard username and password system. But let's say she asks you to do it instead. So if you come here to viewing again, we want to go into third-party email. When you come in here, if you've given someone forwarding permissions and they've actually forwarded it accordingly, you may find that there's a password in this field. There's no need to change the password unless you're trying to prevent someone from seeing the report. Maybe the deal fell through, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. But when you first come in here, if there is no password, you need to make up a password. So let's just say house 123. Okay, it should be specific to the property, not the person, because you can come down here and put in as many emails as you like. You can send it to 3 or 4 different people, and you don't want it to be specific to the person. It's going to make more sense if the password is specific to the house or something generic. Okay, so in this field, I'm going to type in a couple of emails. And okay, so here are the people I want to send it to. And I'm going to scroll to the bottom. You'll see in this message that they're going to get a password. That is not the password. The password's the one you made up. And this is the link they will use to access the report. And I'm going to click Send Email and Set Password. Now, you can see at the top here that it's been sent. This means that that person can view the document with just that password, and when they view it for the first time, you will get a notification. So everything seems fine, right? The customer got it, the realtor got it, this third party's got it, we're all moving along fine. Well, suddenly you find out that the deal didn't go through. So you can do a couple of things. Well, most inspectors would go in and remove viewing permissions, at least remove forwarding permissions, and change the password on the third-party email. So the first thing we want to do, since Mary here didn't buy the house, and this realtor, we don't want them sharing that report with other potential customers. You can come in here under Viewing, go back down to Edit Permissions, and you can say, you know what? Nobody here needs to see that report anymore, and Mary over here doesn't need to be able to forward it because I've been paid, but that's just a snapshot of the condition of the house the day I inspected it. It is not a good example of what the house is like, 3-6 months later. So you click Edit Set Permissions at the bottom. And now you can see that at one time you sent this to her and she viewed it, but now she's not allowed to see it anymore. But you have to do one other thing because you still have that forwarding option. You had given her permission to forward the report at one time. You actually forwarded the report at one time. So let's change the information on that forwarding third party. So I'm going to click on the Viewing again. And I'm going to go down to third party email. I'm not going to send it this time. But what we're going to do here is we're going to change the password because that link that you initially created and was sent to those people, it's out there somewhere. And those people can still access the report. So we're going to change the password. I like the idea, if you change the password, I like the idea of making the password something that you would know that you changed it. Like dead deal, like if the deal fell through, or no deal or something, so that if you go in and change the password to no deal and you've taken away forwarding permissions from anybody, if you ever came back in here and said, what's going on? Why can't they see it? You're not going to remember. There's so many reports. But if you come in here and saw no deal as the password, you would know that you came in here and changed it because the deal fell through and you didn't want anyone else seeing it. And all you have to do is click on this change password only, because you don't have to send anything. We just want to change the password. And now the password's been updated. The people who you initially sent the report to cannot view it, and no one they forwarded to or that you forwarded to can see it. That's a really good way. Now, sometimes people give forwarding permissions to realtors and that type of thing. It's not uncommon for inspectors just to leave the forwarding permissions and not to make any changes until they get that notification, because there's a notification you'll get when that report is forwarded by someone you gave permission to. That way you know it got forwarded. If you take away viewing permissions or if you sent the report in another way, there's no way for you to know what's going on with that document. But if you allow for forwarding permissions and 6 months after you did a report, suddenly you get this email that Mary Realtor forwarded the report, you're like, why would she be doing that? That deal was supposed to be closed. So you can look. Now, if you care to, you can go in and change the password for the report or take away viewing permissions and forwarding permissions from her. But you can call her. You can say, hey, I noticed that you forwarded that report. Did you need me to do another inspection? Because that report is not a representation of the condition of the house today. Maybe you get some other business. Maybe you set a little boundary for somebody. I don't know. But I think it's important for you to know if someone's trying to forward it. So that's how you can forward reports, or you can give forwarding permissions to your customers. And let's see, and editing your permissions. Okay. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but you can upload documents to your HomeGauge dashboard that are outside of the HomeGauge software. What that means is if you had someone do a termite inspection for you or a water test or something. Now you can attach those documents to your report if you care to, and it will show up as a link in the uploaded report, and that's all fine. But if you wanted to, you can literally upload that document directly to the dashboard. So if the document were associated with this report, for example, you could go to Manage right here and go down to Manual Upload. This will give me an option to upload any document on my computer. I have some inspectors, if for some reason the customer didn't agree to the agreement digitally and they went out to the site and the customer was there and the customer physically signed the agreement, they will manually upload a copy of that signed agreement to live here with the report on the dashboard so they don't have to keep a hard copy, because I'm the worst with paper. I just cannot stand it. And a lot of people don't want files and files. So I'm going to click on Manual Upload. So I can indicate what this is. If I click down here, I might say it's a radon or mold or pest. So we'll just make something up here. We'll just say it's a mold. Somebody did a mold for you, mold inspection. And here's all my information. I'll just leave all that like that. And I'm going to click right here. I have to browse my computer for the document. So I'm going to click Browse. And let's see. I'll pretend this is it right here. And there it is. And now I can upload. And so if I return to my list of uploaded reports, now I have this additional document here. You see how it looks like it's more of a, it has a little icon. That looks good, right? Now I can send that notification for that document. It's completely separate. You know, I can click here to view what it looks like. You want to make sure that that's a secure document, preferably a PDF of some kind, but that's a way you can upload a document. You can come in here, and if you wanted to, you could just give everyone permissions to view it and set permissions. Now everyone can view it. Now you don't have to send the notification if you don't want to, because they really don't need that email. All they need is their username and password and to know something is there. Okay? So I'm actually, just because we kind of messing around, I'm going to come back in here and edit the viewing permissions here so that everyone can see as we change this stuff, okay? So that's a really nice tool. It depends on what you'd like to upload, but they'll see the document directly. They just click on View Document, Open, it'll open right up. So that could potentially be a termite or a mold or something like that. So that's how you upload outside documents from the into the software. Okay? Now, as we've been going along here, I've been telling you how that you'll get a notification when this happens, and you'll get a notification when that happens. And you can control what type of notifications you get regarding your uploaded reports and regarding when someone agrees to an agreement or views a document, that type of thing. So what I'm going to use here is this little option on the left, upload/email options. Okay? It brings me to this page. So there's several options you can look at here. Number one, you know how when you upload a report and then you have to give viewing permissions to everyone? If you always give everyone the same viewing permissions, your customer, for example, you can come here and click this in advance. So every time you upload a document, it automatically gives those permissions without you having to check it off. Same thing goes for the real estate professional. I'm not crazy about it for the real estate professional because it's not going to be able to differentiate between an agreement and a report. So you would not give the real estate professional viewing permissions on an agreement. So I personally would not set anything for a rep. The customer is not unreasonable. Now, if you scroll down here, there's another option where it would actually automatically send off your report when you upload it. You wouldn't have to go through those steps. That's okay if all you're doing is uploading reports, but that's not going to force your agreement. This is not a feature that is typically used by just regular independent inspectors. This feature was created for large multi-inspector firms that didn't want their inspectors to have to worry about sending notifications. They do their agreement in advance, and they want the inspectors to just click upload and yes, send notifications and never have to even go to the dashboard. That's okay, but it also means that those inspectors do not know how to navigate the dashboard. They don't know how to find their report. It is very likely those inspectors are re-uploading reports multiple times because they don't know how to go to the dashboard and resend a notification because they never go there. So I would not advise you to use this unless you've got several inspectors and you're just trying to prevent them from having to take too many steps and you're controlling all the agreement and pre-inspection type of options. So the other option you have down here is the email notifications, event notification options. I unchecked send an email when the report is uploaded because, you know, it's just me. I'm always like messing around uploading stuff. If you're just one inspector and you get a notification every time you upload a report, but you're going through the steps to upload and distribute, you don't need to know that you uploaded it. You know you did it when you uploaded it. The reason you'd have that checked off is maybe you have people distributing your report for you and you want to make sure that they're doing what you asked them. And this would mean that you'd see when they sent the report out. If you're a one-man show, I would not have that checked off. Down here is an option for you to get an email when a report is viewed for the first time by each person that you send a notification to. This is an email when the report is viewed by a third party. An email when an agreement has been agreed to, and then an email when a buyer, seller, or a rep, anybody you've sent the report to, uses the forward the report feature to a third party. So if you gave them forwarding permissions, you want to know if they're forwarding it to somebody. Who are they forwarding it to? You're not going to see that person's name, but you will see their email address. So I think having these bottom four are pretty good options for you, especially that way you don't have to be going to your dashboard all the time to see what's going on. You're going to get a notification. If you're just one inspector, I don't see any reason to have this checked off right here, that upload. So if you make changes here, you just want to, I did change this up here. So I'm going to click Save Upload Documents options. And then you're done, and that's how you can control that. If you get tired of getting emails and you just would rather go to your dashboard, you can check all of those off, okay? Now, the other thing that you can do is when we send off those emails to your customers, you can customize those email notifications. So over here on the left, there's an option to edit report emails. These are the email notifications, okay? And you can customize these. You're working in the default message right now. You'll notice that there's this code in here. This code is what makes the customer's name show up, your logo show up. You know, you don't want to remove those things. We do have a little legend down here of different features you can use. But I'll say that you can make varying different ones. Like we're right now in the buyer seller, and then there's the real estate one. There's a bunch of different ones. The primary reason people come in here to change something is if they wanted to change the location where people go to access the report. So typically it navigates them to an unbranded page of HomeGauge. It has your information on it and they can log in to get to the report. But if you've incorporated our login on your website, which you should if you have a website, it absolutely should be done, you can put the link to your website here for them to access the report so that your website gets the hit. Ultimately, they wind up on our website anyway, but having that hit, that visitation to your website is really, that's good business. You need to have that activity. So you would want to change that in any email that has the login, like here's the rep one. You'd want the reps, they're the ones who are the busiest. They're the ones who are repeatedly, they're sending you these, orders, and then they're logging in. You want them coming to your website on a regular basis. So you would want to customize that by just getting the URL from your website and typing it in here instead so that they can access the report from your website. You can add other text there if you care to, but I will say this, your customer just wants the access to their report. They don't want to read a novel. The more information you put in this email, the more calls you're going to get that says, I just want my report, where's my report? And if you tell them, go read the email after they get past all the stuff you've added and they get to the username and password, oh, I see, but really if that had been a limited email, they probably wouldn't be calling you. They would just be activating, they'd just be accessing the report. But once you make a change in here, you're going to want to click Save Template down here at the bottom. So that's how you can change all of the other emails. Now, there are some other features in the software where you can send a report to your cloud so that you can get it on your computer. And that's over here on the left. If I click on Cloud Transfers, you can see that I sent these reports to the cloud from my software so that I could get it down on another computer or on my mobile device. I'm going to open up the software real quick. So in the software, if I wanted to do that, I would go to HG Services and I would go to Send Report to Cloud. And I would select the report that I want to send to the cloud, okay? I'm not going to do that right now. So once you send it, that report will show up in this list. You have 5 slots here. These slots are only a temporary place to keep a report because you're going to get a copy of it on another computer. So you're never going to, it's not like you access a report from here. It's just a temporary place. But if you want to, you could delete a report from here, but you need to know that once it's deleted, it is gone forever. So if you send something from your companion, for example, and you send it to the cloud and you come here and you delete it, you're not going to be able to get it down on your computer because now it's gone. This is not where you send it to distribute it. And I'm just gonna delete all these out of here real quick. I've checked them all off. Delete selected reports. And now I've cleared them all out. There's a few other things you can see from here. You can see the last time you sent your template to the cloud, which you need to do if you're using the companion. And also if you've backed up your settings, periodically the software will ask you to back up your settings. I don't do that a lot, hardly ever, because I'm always restoring my computer and trying to figure out stuff for other people, and my stuff on my computer is not real. So, but you should never see anything past 10 days here. If the software is asking you to back up your settings, you should say yes from your primary computer, the one that has all the stuff that you love. You need to be backing that up. So when your computer crashes, and it will, you can get all your stuff back. All right. The last thing I'm going to show you today is how to delete a report from your dashboard. So typically there's no need to delete a report from your dashboard unless you've uploaded multiple reports. Okay? If you've uploaded multiple reports and you don't want to see duplicates, you can come to the reports list and click on Manage. And you can delete. Now I'll say this, if you have an agreement associated with a report, you don't want to delete the report. you would rather just take away viewing permissions or something, because that agreement, it's associated with that important document. Let's just say for a minute that maybe I didn't mean to upload this mold to this report. That's a good one. We'll go to Manage. I'm going to go to Delete. It's going to ask me which document I want to delete. I only want to delete the mold document. And I'll say yes. Yes, I really want to delete it. And now I come back here and the mold is gone. That being said, if you accidentally delete something from your dashboard and you call us, there's a very good likelihood we can find that report and quote unquote undelete it for you. But we would have to be able to dig around and find it. So only delete duplicate reports, or if you're practicing and you're uploading fake reports, well then yeah, you can delete those practice reports. At the bottom of the screen right here, you'll also see that if you wanted to export the reports list right down here at the bottom, so you've uploaded reports for a year and now you want to see all the documents that are on your HomeGauge dashboard, you can export the list. It'll create a spreadsheet. You would just pick the year that you want to export. You could do all of them, you could just do one, and it will create a spreadsheet or a CSV file, like an Excel spreadsheet. Now, that's all I pretty much have today. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to give it a minute or two. Please use the message feature on your dashboard there to ask any questions you like regarding this webinar, and I'll be happy to answer them. So hopefully this will be useful to you. I've recorded this, like I said. I'll be uploading it probably within the next, probably this afternoon. And oh, I'm getting stuffy. And then we'll be able to use it, watch it as many times as you like. If you have two computers using any of those webinars, or even two monitors, the webinars can be so useful. Because you can watch it on one screen and duplicate what you see on the other and just pause the video. It's just like someone's right there. Just pause it and say, oh, I'm going to go and take those steps right now. And it really helps you work at your own pace, because as much as we would love to have the revenue and the staff to have someone here 24/7, we do not, but we do try to provide the absolute best service that we can during the hours that we are here. I do take a lot of pride in how awesome our service is. We have the most amazing support team in the industry. Everybody's so knowledgeable. But so I guess it's a quality over quantity type thing. But watch those videos. Use HomeGauge, support.homegauge.com off hours, and kind of most of the time you can pick up what you need, and you can always post an open question, and we will be happy to answer it. Thank you, Gerald. I'm glad you were able to attend today. You're always a good cheerleader for HomeGauge. And Gerald instant message saying that was a great job. It's always nice to hear. Anyway, let us know if we have any other questions. We so appreciate you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. Honestly, you really have built our company into the thing that we've always wanted it to be, and we keep moving forward. So watch for future webinars, and have a fantastic day. I'm going to disconnect now. Bye now.